We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Beis and Beis Mesechet Kesuvos. This is Kesuvos Daf 32b. The Gemara in the previous Amud is trying to determine what is the source for Ula, that if you have a situation of possible punishments of Mammon and Malchus, that the punishment is going to be Mammon. And the Gemara says, Ella rather, Ula Tachas Gamar. Ula learns this out from a Gzeira Shava of Tachas. Ksiv Hach, it says over here, talking about by the case of Ones, it says Tachas Asher Ina. Ksiv Hasam, and it says over there, when it's talking about wounding, it says Ayin Tachas Ayin. Also, it uses the word Tachas, ma hasam mamona meshale milka lo lucky, just like again over there by chova bechavero. But here we're not just learning it out from a mamotzina, which you can refute. Here we're learning it out from a gzeira shava. And so just like over there, you pay money and you don't get malchus. So af kol heichadika mamona malchus mamona meshale milka lo lucky. So too in any situation where there's a potential punishment of money and malchus, the punishment is going to be mammon and it is not going to be malchus. Rashi over here says, Tachas, Gamar, Gzeira Shava, Mufnahi. There's a Gzeira Shava using extra words in the psukim. Well, the made in vain, Meshivin. You can learn such a Gzeira Shava and you can't refute it. So again, even though we refuted the learning from Chova B'Chaver on the previous Amud, that was refuted because it was just a simple Mamatzino. But here, where it is a Gzeira Shava from extra words in the psukim, so we do not refute it. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Yochanan says he's giving a different answer to the contradiction between our Mishnah and the Mishnah in Makos, again in a situation of Ones, where you have a potential punishment of Malchus and also potential punishment of Mammon. So Mesechet Makos, it seems like the person gets Malchus, and over here it seems like the person does pay the Knas. And so Rabbi Yochanan answers, Afilu teima choso nari. You can even say that in all situations, the Mishnah over there in Makos and our Mishnah, we're always talking about his sister who is a Nara, and so there should be a Knas payment. And so how come over there you're getting Malchus and here you're getting the Knas? Very simple, says Rabbi Yochanan, kan shehisrubo, kan shelo hisrubo. In one case, the person was warned regarding Malchus, and therefore in the Mishnah in Makos, he gets the punishment of Malchus. But in our case over here, there was no warning regarding Malchus, since he was not warned that he was going to get Malchus for this action. Therefore, he pays money instead. And the Gemara continues, Alma, we see from Rabbi Yochanan's answer, Kasav Rabbi Yochanan, that Rabbi Yochanan holds, Kol heicha di'ika Mammon Malchus, anytime you have a situation of a potential punishment of Mammon and Malchus, Va'asru Bey, and the person is warned regarding the Malchus, so Milka Loki, Memona Lo Mishalim, apparently he gets the punishment of Malchus and not the punishment of the Mammon. And so the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan, how does Rabbi Yochanan know that this is the case? How does he know that Malchus takes precedence? And the Gemara answers, Amar Krotz, because the pasuk says, Kedei Rishoso. It says a person has to be punished for his crime. Mishum Risha Achas Ata Mechayvo, Viata Mechayvo Mishum Shtei Rishayos. You only punish a person for one crime, not for two crimes. Now, which crime does he get? Which punishment does he get? V'samach le arboim yakenu. And it says right next to that pasuk the idea of getting 40 Malchus. And so therefore we understand that if you have a potential for two punishments, Malchus is the punishment that the person receives. And so the Gemara asks on this, okay, but what about the case we said before? What about when a person wounds his friend, De'ika Mammon Malchus? There also there's a potential punishment of Mammon and Malchus. Mamon Meshali Milka Lo Lucky, and over there the person gets the punishment of Mammon and not Malchus. Why is that different? Now, if you will suggest, maybe we only give the person the punishment of Mammon when he isn't warned for Malchus. But maybe, if the person is warned for Malchus, maybe he gets the punishment of Malchus, but he does not get the punishment of Mammon. But that's not true. But Rabbi Yomi said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, let's say a person hits somebody and he creates a kind of a wound that is not even the value of a pruta. So over there, there's no punishment of mammon because it's less than a pruta. It's like no money at all. So locus, over there he gets malchus, only in that case. And the Gemara clarifies, hey chidami, what exactly is the case in this situation? Idolo asrubei, if the case is where there was no warning for malchus, so amai locus, so why should he get malchus? Without a warning, he certainly should not get malchus. Elopshita, to asrubei, obviously the case is there was a warning for malchus, v'tayim the less b'shava pruta, and the only reason he gets malchus is because the payment is not even the value of a shava pruta. Ha'itz b'shava pruta, but if it would be the value of a pruta, memona mishalim milka lo lucky, apparently the punishment would be mammon and not malchus. So therefore, again, you see that when it comes to chovel b'chaver, the punishment is money and not malchus. So why is that different than the case of Rabbi Yochanan? And so the Gemara answers, Kedo'amar Rabbi Law. No, it's like what Rabbi Law said. Rabbi Law said something by Edom Zomamin that we can apply over here. What did Rabbi Law say? He said, Beferish ribs Torah Edom Zomamin l'tashlumin. The Torah explicitly says that when it comes to Edom Zomamin, the punishment is going to be money. And so Hachanami here also we could say the same idea. Beferish ribs Torah chova b'chaver l'tashlumin. The pasuk says explicitly that when it comes to chova b'chavero, that we know the punishment is mammon. In other words, in general, really the punishment should be malchus when you have both malchus malchus and mammon as potential punishments, but if the Torah goes out of its way and says tashlumin, we know the punishment is tashlumin. And the Gemara continues, V'heicha itzmar de Rabbi Lo. Now where did Rabbi Lo make this statement that by Edom Zomin the Torah specifies tashlumin as a punishment? Aha, he made it on the following. It says in Mesechet Makos, Me'idan anu es ishploni shechayev lechaver masayim zuz. Let's say two people testify that a certain person is chayev 200 zuz. V'nimtzu zomin, and it turns out that they're false witnesses. Again, the general punishment is kasher zomam, that which they tried to do. They tried to make him pay 200 zuz, so they now have to pay 200 zuz. So it says over there in Makos, lokin umeshalmin, it says that they get malchus and they pay. Shalo hashem hamavian lidei Makos mevian lidei tashlumin divrei Rabbi Meir, because Rabbi Meir says it's not the same pasuk that talks about the punishment being malchus and the same pasuk that talks about tashlumin, meaning there are two different sources, and so therefore they actually can get both punishments according to Rabbi Meir. They can get both the punishment of malchus and the punishment of tashlumin. But then the Mishnah continues over there. The Chachamim say, Kol HaMishalim Eino Loka. Anybody who pays does not get malchus, meaning their only punishment is payment and not malchus. And so the Gemara says, V'neima kol halok eino mishalim. Why did the Chachamim say that direction? Why not the other direction? Maybe they should say anyone who gets malchus doesn't pay. Why is it that the punishment is the payment and not the malchus, according to the Chachamim? And it was on that Mishnah that Rabbi Lo makes a statement. Amar Rabbi Lo says, Beferish ribs Torah Edom Zomamin l'tashlumin. The Torah says explicitly that when it comes to Edom Zomamin, the punishment is tashlumin. Heichon ribs Torah. Where does the Torah say that? Michli let us see ksiv. It says in the pasuk, V'asisam lo kasher zomam la'asos. It says that you have to do to him kasher zomam, the same that he attempted to do to his brother. That's the punishment by Edom Zomamin. And if that's the case, so the Gemara says yad biyad lomali. So why does the pasuk also have this phrase of yad biyad? Pasuk over here talking about velo sochos einecha nefesh benefesh ayin ba'ayin shein b'shein yod b'yod regel b'regel, talking about the fact that if the punishment has to be the same the person tried to do, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, etc. So it says this language of yad biyad. What does it need to say that for? The answer is davar hanitan miyad liyad. That punishment is indicating that we're talking about something that is given from one hand to the other. Umay niu, and what is that referring to? That is referring to mammon. That is referring to money. Now we should point out over here that this pasuk of asisam lo kasher zamam lasos liachiv, that's in Devarim Yud Tes, and just two psukim later we have yad biyad. And so that's why the Gemara is learning out from the pasuk of yad biyad, means to say that mammon takes precedence over the malchus. And the Gemara continues, chovel b'chavero nami. When it comes to chovel b'chavero, we have a similar idea. Michti ksiv, let us see, the pasuk says, kasher asa, ken yasa lo, that which he did, that is what is done to him. Again, talking about the fact that he gave a wound to somebody, so he's punished. So therefore, ken yinasen bo lamali. So why does it say ken yinasen bo? Again, this pasuk over here, pasuk in Perach Dalet in Vayikra, pasuk Yud Tes says, "V'ish kiyitein mum ba'amiso kasher asa kain yeyasa lo," and then it says in Perach Dalet, pasuk Chaf, just one pasuk later, it says shever tachas shever, ayin tachas ayin, shein tachas shein, kasher yitein mum ba'adam kain yinasein bo. So what do we need kain yinasein bo for? Kain yinasein bo lamali, and the idea is davar sheyesh bo nesina. Again, it means something that you give over from one person to the other. Umay niu, and what is that referring to? Mammon, that is referring to mammon. So again, since the pasuk specifies by chova b'chaver tashlumin, so the punishment is tashlumin. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Yochanan my time alo amar ka'ula. So why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan say like Ula? Again, in general, Rabbi Yochanan says if you have malchus and mammon, the punishment is malchus. Ula said that if you have malchus and mammon, he learned out from tachas that the punishment is going to be mammon. Why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan say like Ula? And to that the Gemara says, Imkain, no, if so, if you say like Ula, bitalta ervas achos chalos agali, you're going to end up nullifying the pasuk which says the person is not allowed to be with his sister. Rashi over here says, my time alo amar ka'ula. Why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan say like Ula? Dugamar gzeir shava lo'on shom mammon v'lo malchus. Again, Ula was the one that had a gzeir shava to say that the punishment is mammon and not malchus. L'chol chayve mammon and malchus. In general, anytime you have a case of mammon and malchus, and to that Rabbi Yochanan said, Imkain, if so, de patarta ba'al achosam malchus. If you're going to say that a person who has relations with his sister is not going to get malchus, bitalta lav shaba. There's actually a lav over there that's written she'onesh lav malchus, and usually the punishment of a lav is malchus. So what are you going to do? You can't just nullify that punishment that goes along with every single lav. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph.